So my journey started in high school. I noticed this one of my classmates. Well, actually, he was 3 years older than me, and we're for some reason I was in the PE room, and he came in and he started lifting weights, and I was like, just watching him because for me it's unfamiliar territory. So he did, he was lifting for about 10 minutes, and while I was talking to the PE teacher, and he all of a sudden he took off his shirt, and I'm like, I was totally amazed what the physique can look like, and I thought it was, so so different that I had to ask him, how you did it and stuff like that. So anyway, as time went by, I started lifting. I started getting more hardcore into the gym, um, in the fitness industry, and so I joined. Me and my brother joined a gym, and so as I joined the gym, I could see once I started lifting weights, I could see my body change. And I tried to observe these, not the novice lifters, but more of the seasoned, competitors. And I'll ask questions. I ask these people questions. So they'll answer some of the questions that I would ask, like for example, the diet. What kind of foods to eat, how to train, and so and I watch how their physiques develop. This is how actually got into bodybuilding. And one day, as I started to get bigger, I noticed that this one person kind of like dared me to say, "Oh, you should enter a contest, but maybe you shouldn't because it could be embarrassing because the way you look." And I guess he didn't really see because I used to always cover up, so he couldn't really see my physique. But that dare really pushed me into doing more and getting more involved into the scene per se. And so I did. I decided to enter. Well, I decided to enter this one contest, but actually I was asked to do it. It was the Teenage Nationals, and that was in LA, downtown LA. But again, when I got into that, I didn't know anything about it. Yeah, I just knew lifting, and I didn't even know about dieting. So I didn't even know how to get down to the trying to get your body fat down to its leanest, even though I was pretty lean at that time. But but just by asking questions and doing what I had to do, I noticed that my physique changed a lot. I started to go to the beach to get tan. I tried different supplements, um, and then to be honest, I took this one anabolic steroid. It was an RO. It's called Dianabol, and so I just took one pill a day. But man, what a big difference it made on my physique. I guess my body responded very well to it. So it helped my physique to make big changes. And I always said that to people that ask me about taking steroids, I always tell them to go as natural as possible, as long as possible. But for some reason, the people that I were with, training were at the same time, they were taking a lot of stuff, I guess. But they kind of told me about it. So I just tried one pill a day for like the last 4 weeks, and my body really changed a lot. But I went up to the contest not knowing anything, and not even knowing that there was a prejudging. I learned how to pose on the fly. But I met a lot of people, a lot of teenage competitors that was, physique wise is very, very good. So I learned a lot by asking a lot of questions. And then so for some reason I did very well. And what it did for me, it boosted my confidence a lot. I got into something that I like to do. So I was driven to, or had the passion and driven to go to the gym and you know work on my physique. And I had no idea that you can make your physique like that. Even though I would see people, looking like that at the gym, just to see your body change, it really brought a lot of you know perception into my journey. So again, it gave me a lot of confidence. It made me wanted to look into another contest and another contest, another contest. But I just noticed that it just gave me more. I was more driven to, or had more goals. So it just gave me more like a hard stance on wanting to do and invest in myself. So that's how I really got into it, yo. So and as time went up by, as you do, as you win, and as you go up the ladder of the difficulty of the contest, you have your state run contest, then you have your national level contest, and ultimately, you have your pro level. But my intention was never to turn pro. I had no idea. I just want to see. I'm very competitive, so I just want to see how far I could go in this sport. And for some reason, I was blessed to do very well. I made sure that I tried to enter all the local contests, and then I could mentally feel like I'm ready to go on to the national level contest. And it took me a while, a couple years, 2, 3 years to do very well on the pro level. I mean, excuse me, national level. But a national level usually goes on to the pro level because you qualified. And what's really complimenting to me is the beauty of it is if you pick the right contest, which is a pro qualifier, you get to turn professionally. And I learned over the years at that time that's everybody's goal is to turn professional, to get that they call it. Oh, I want my IFBB card. It wasn't something in the planning. Again, I already was a teacher, and I like to train, so that was my outlet. But getting a pro card had a lot of benefits for me, because as I won the nationals, I turned pro, and I met the owners of Gold's Gym, and we sat down meetings, and I decided to go with them and be one of the partners of the original Gold's Gym Honolulu, yeah, on Kapilani. And it was so from being a teacher, I became a pro bodybuilder into you know becoming a businessman. So I learned a lot opening up my first gym, or at that time, and it was a huge gym because man, we had like 18,000 members. We opened up other Gold's Gym in Honolulu, and then as time went by, I guess because we did so well, the franchise 24 Fitness bought us out, which is good because we got to keep our positions, but they the shares, yeah, they gave us 41 shares, so it was a lot. But anyway, so as time went by, entering like the the national level contest was very rough, but I could see the best of the best. And the first time I entered was the national level contest. Besides the teenage nationals, was the it was the USA's, and I could see myself. Even though I didn't win, I think I took maybe eighth or ninth, but I could by looking at the person that took first place, I asked myself, can I beat this guy? Is my physique in time can challenge or beat a person like that to turn professional? And so after really thinking about it, I said, oh yeah, I think I can, but maybe not now. Even though I took eighth, so I guess my physique wasn't ready. I need more refinement. But it's just going back to the gym. It's like creating a plan for me. I see what I have to do. I make a plan, and without any trainers now, people at that time that's how we did things. So we make a plan on ourselves, and we set goals. Yeah, we needed to know when the next level contest or all the contest, the dates. Yeah, so we can plan ahead, and like nowadays. But it just gave me more. When you have goals in life, it makes it more you appreciate life better, rather than just going through life without no goals. So by having that goal at that time between the ages of, I would say, maybe 20 to 25, it was very. I just love my lifestyle, yo. I go in, I go work at Gold's Gym, I train. I had some clients, I trained them, and then I go home, eat, and basically bodybuilders, we love to eat, so we spent a lot of time eating and resting. So my life was just, had a rhythm like that, and actually I really like the lifestyle because when you can invest in your physique, when you can meet a lot of people in the same industry as you, it's very enlightened. It gives a lot of enlightenment, so it made everyday life very nice. So I met a lot of contacts. A lot of business opportunities came along to me. Bodybuilding, let me travel around, to the Asian area, Japan, to Korea. I went to Mexico. I went to all over the United States, outer islands to guest posts. So it gave me a lot of opportunities. And what's funny is I never thought I would get paid for something I like to do, just lift weights. So it was not different, but it was I guess it's part of being a businessman. This is what you do, so you must get paid for it. And being a professional, it allowed me to do this. So I went through life at that time thinking like this is gonna be my life. So I tried to understand more in depth on how to run a gym, and I put the bodybuilding contest aside. So actually, I turned professional when I was 24. So it took me about 5 years to turn pro, and at that time it was very fast. The amount of time a person would take to turn pro usually it takes longer, and at my age was this is very good, in my part. So what I did was I put aside competing for a little while, and I tried to understand the business aspect of bodybuilding, from from being sponsored by major companies, and in the Gold's Gym, learning to become an owner, the money's part, the front desk, the sales, the upkeep of the gym, the expenses that need to be paid. There's a lot of things that people don't really understand what goes into running a facility, especially the size of that gym. Yeah, it was 37,000 square feet. It was a big facility, and I'm sure people in Hawaii know which one I'm talking about. But so once I kind of understood how to deal with, how to carry myself in business, knowing the strategy that we needed to do to become more successful. And thank God we had a good general manager at that time, so I really learned a lot from him. Then I started competing again. So I competed professionally for 2 years, and I entered I don't know 15 contests. But my career as a professional was very short lived because when I train or when I did something in some kind of sport, I trained to win. But I noticed that as I trained for a professional contest, it was a little bit different from entering an amateur contest, like the USA's or the nationals or any kind of national level division. The reason why is because as an amateur you compete in your class, in your weight class, but as a professional there's no weight classes, so you compete against guys, for me, are like 100 pounds heavier than me. So every contest I entered, and this is a lot of guys that I kind of admire through the magazines, and I see on stage I get to meet, talk to, got along with a lot of them. But man, I tell you, just up close and personal, they look totally different from the magazine. They're really, and I'm not really exaggerating, but they look like freaks. Versus the magazine, they look very aesthetic, very nice. Oh, this guy's muscular, but when you go up close, you can see the big difference. So after 2 years as competing, the highest I ever took was probably the Night Champion, which is now the New York Pro. I took maybe I think it was ninth, and for me it was an honor just to place top 10, and the rest of the contests I would enter professionally, I'll make the top 13, 14, but otherwise that's the best I would do. When I look at the guys, the athletes that took first, second, third, top five, again they're freaks. So it's for me to really put in perspective. If I could go toe to toe with these guys, very hard. So I decided as time went by, I decided to stop and just work on the business aspect. I needed to make sure that financially I could afford my life, especially now because I was married, I had children. No, later on, later on I had children, but I'm foreseeing myself having children, so I had to make sure that I can financially handle that. So my mindset went right into the financial part. So usually, maybe as time goes by, I'll talk about the financial part. So, but right now I just wanted to to get in tune with competing professionally. Professionally is very hard. Yeah, I mean you're going up against the best. Yeah, so me going up against guys like Ronnie Coleman, Dorian Yates, it's just, how would I say, very not unfair, but unfair, because these guys were freaks, and but they're very nice people. So I made sure that I really kept in good contact with them. Um, so, but what's funny is I learned a lot when competing. A lot of times I can tell you the truth. A lot of times the contest determine already who's gonna win and stuff like that. And I guess what I used to see is, again at that time, it's funny how when we have meetings, you see all the European athletes on one side and all the Americans on the other side. And but I noticed that there's envelopes being circulating around to certain ones, and usually the ones getting envelopes is the ones that place in the top five will win. So I'm already thinking to myself, are these is it already arranged? These winners, but after years that went by, maybe it was because they will get extra funding because they'll be invited to compete in that particular contest. So the promoters will pay these certain people to compete in their contest. Yeah, so it makes their contest more credible, more established. So I just wanted to make sure that when I competed in bodybuilding, that it was fair. Yeah, I was into boxing and I got out of the sport. I don't want to get into that, but I seen a lot of unfairness, so that's why I went to bodybuilding. And yeah, so that's what I learned a lot. But again, as I said, I met a lot of professional bodybuilders, and they're really really nice people. Just like either or, you can see you're bad or the good, but a lot of them is mostly good. So I really learned a lot. Okay, so I did things instinctively, meaning even though you had when a bodybuilder dies for contest, you have your chicken breast, your white fish, or maybe ground turkey, and your potatoes, and maybe some rice and vegetables. But as time went by, I noticed that I had a fast metabolism, so I had to really think about how the game plan, how I'm gonna do this. And I knew at that time that diet was almost everything. So I had to figure out why when I start my diet I lose a lot real fast. I get shredded too fast, and when I lose a lot, I feel myself losing a lot. And it's like more weight, yeah. So I would start at maybe at that time maybe like 165, 170, and within 3 weeks I'll be down to like in the 150s like instantly. So I had to really figure out what foods I can eat that won't compensate losing definition by keeping my weight up. So I had to figure out that protein was okay. Carbohydrates maybe I have to watch because I usually don't eat too much carbohydrates because I knew already that my body was carb sensitive. Yeah, so the more carbs I take in, the more water I hold. But I noticed that fats gave me a lot of energy too, but kept my size and it has a lot of calories. So when in tune with that, so my diet really was based on eating a lot of beef, a lot of ground beef. Yeah, has to be grounded. Yeah, and not almost zero carbs. So no rice, no potatoes, no pasta, hardly any fruits. But I ate a lot of vegetables. But to keep my weight up, I'll eat, and then at that time people didn't really believe me until they actually see me doing what I did. Was I ate one jar of peanut butter a day. So I'll eat maybe like 4 meals a day, and then maybe like drink 2 or 3 shakes a day. And after every meal, I'll eat maybe like a quarter jar of peanut butter, right in front of their face. And then throughout the day, I eat more and more and more until the whole jar is gone. So actually, at that time, I used to shop at Costco, and I used to buy like a case of, every 2 weeks, a case of peanut butter. So I made a lot of money for them. But peanut butter, I eat a lot of avocado. So a lot of fats because, you know, fats don't make me hold water, but it made me hold on to my weight because of the calories. So like, for example, one jar of peanut butter would have approximately, 5,500 calories. And everybody would think 5,500 calories, that's a lot. It is, but if you have a fast metabolism, it's like nothing. You just burn out very quickly. So some people, depending on their structure or their makeup, you got to see, if they have a fast metabolism or if they have a very slow metabolism. So you can tell the people that are fast metabolism because, just the way they carry themselves, you can see the leanness, yeah, versus people that have very slow metabolism, even though they're trained and do cardio, they still hold on to that excess. So in my time, I had a very high metabolism. In fact, I used to, do judo and, boxing, and I had a hard time cracking 130 at that time. And so once I got into weight training, my weight went up. So I just responded, but I stayed lean. But again, I noticed that when I ate a lot of carbs, a lot of rice, I love rice at that time. I noticed that my body held on to a lot of water. So right away, I knew already that rice, sometimes potatoes, a lot of pasta is bad for me. Bread is so-so, but me coming from Hawaii, love rice, and I'll eat like 4 or 5 cups. I mean, uncooked rice a day. That's how I was. So once I eliminated the rice and I focused more on the good protein, a lot of beef. The beef held a lot of calories, right? So it held my weight and kept me very strong. Chicken and fish, they're more lean type of protein. It made me lose weight, and because it was stringy type of protein, it made me look stringy. Yeah, beef, it kept my kept my rugged muscle. So I noticed that those foods work good on me. But again, it might work good on me, but it might not for you. So that's why you do a lot of testing. At that time, we had no guidance. When I used to train in the 90s, we had no guidance. So everything was learn as we go. We test from the supplements to the chemicals to the foods to the training on our own. And that's how we learn a lot. So that's why I really feel the trainers nowadays, you get the old school trainers, the ones that have been in it for long periods of time, they make the better trainers, because of the fact that we learn a lot. The new trainers are very good, but they're all book smart, but they don't have the experience. So when times are hard on their clients, where maybe they need to make adjustments, they might not know how to do it or what to do because they haven't been in that predicament for them to make those choices to adjust. So you really, if picking a trainer, you should pick a trainer that have been in it for a long period of time. So the question is, what did I do? What contest did I enter where I became or turned pro? So again, as I mentioned before, I made sure that I needed experience. So I entered mostly a lot of the local contests, and I did very well. And by winning a national level contest, a national qualifier locally, it gave you the ability to compete nationally, which is like at that time wasn't it like the USA and the national. So actually, when you had 2, maybe 3 pro qualifiers, or they call it national level contest. Now there's like so many, but so that's why at that time it was very hard to turn pro because they want to allow maybe 6 or 7 or 5 or 6 pros a year. Now you have like hundreds per contest, so you have thousands then becoming pro every year. But again, regardless of that, by entering, by entering and doing well at the national level and turning for me to win the nationals and turn professional, it was a dream, and I was very happy. I couldn't believe it because again, when I look around at the athletes I compete against, they were the best and they were very good. So for me, I was very flattered, and you get to get interviewed by ESPN and stuff like that. So you get a lot of attention, but I guess really, thank God we didn't have social media at that time, because I don't know what would happen, but because there's no social media, we got a lot of attention and we kept everything to ourselves. It humbled us, but it made us maybe a little arrogant, but it humbled us to a way where we kept everything to ourselves. So so again, I trained maybe for about a year, and I decided to enter I'm trying to remember, my first professional contest was called the Ironman, and that was in California. And I think that was 1990. And my first contest, it was I trained for it, but I made a very bold mistake. Turning professional, I thought I had to be much bigger because when I turned professional, I was a lightweight, and these guys are heavyweights and above. So I tried to come in much heavier, trying to come in bigger, but because I did that, and it's like maybe my first professional contest was maybe like 9 months after the national. So I I noticed that I wasn't well. What was written in the magazines that Alan, that I look much bigger. But again, he sacrificed a lot of his thickness, a lot of his being bigger. He lost a lot of sharpness, so I wasn't as defined as when I won the nationals. And I remember vividly that the quote is, the more defined you look on stage, the bigger you look. Versus a guy you standing next to that person and he's big, but if he isn't as defined, or they call it rip or grainy, then he or she might not be as big as you. But if you're skinnier, smaller, and you're more defined, you can look much bigger, because when you pose, all your muscles pop out, and naturally, the judges or anybody watching will all look at the person that has muscles popping out. Yeah, this shows more. So by entering my first contest and by reading the comments in the magazine that I wasn't as sharp, maybe realized that I cannot go by trying to come in as big as possible, but just come in, you know, if I gain muscle, that's fine, but make sure I came in condition. And so up to this day, I always mention to my athletes competing for contests, you got to come in condition. Yeah, it's not how big you are. You have to come in condition. And don't be satisfied with just coming in, looking semi or looking cut. You got to come in. You need to maximize your condition by doing.
Sorry. Sorry.
Let me talk about my first show, because people always ask me, how was my first show? And so my first show was kind of funny because I had the NPC chairman of Hawaii. I guess he will go gym to gym, making sure that he had a representative going to teenage nationals. So one day he came into the gym, and I was living at this gym that's kind of hardcore. A lot of really good bodybuilders. But he came up to me, asked me, "Oh, how old I? What is my age? How long you been lifting?" And he says, one day he goes, "Potentially, I want you to enter this contest. It's called the Teenage Nationals." And I said, "Oh, wow, I don't know, because I don't know anything about competing." So he goes, "No, but what we do is we'll pay your way, pay your hotel, and pay everything, like the sanction, registration fees and stuff like that." So I didn't really understood, but I says, okay. And I asked him, when was it? He goes, in 4 weeks. I'm like, 4 weeks? But he says, looks like you've been dieting for a while. I said, well, I have a fast metabolism, and I just eat regular food. So he said, anyway, let me know. So I let me know if I wanted to, enter it, and they'll sponsor me. So anyway, I decided, just give it a try. So I told my brother, who was training with me at that time, and was at a small gym in Kamiki called Sun Nautilus. I'll bring this gym up because it was the first hardcore gym that I ever entered. It was very small. I mean, it was like it was very small. Not that much weights. But there's a lot of big bodybuilders that entered. They came from the gym. But anyway, so I would ask these experienced bodybuilders that I'll be entering this show, and then what do you eat? So they says you should eat chicken. So I took that very seriously. So for the next 4 weeks, so what I did, and this is a true story. What I did was me and my brother went to we ate a lot of chicken every meal, but I ate fried chicken. I didn't know that you're supposed to make, I guess without the skin, and and stuff like that. So I would go to like Kentucky Fried Chicken, or at that time there's this one place I really love. They have the what was it called, Pioneer Chicken, and they have the Hawaiian sauce. So I'll eat those kind of foods, and not knowing that maybe potentially was bad for me, but it took a reverse effect on me, because it made me more ripped, because I just ate chicken. I never ate any carbohydrates, and I was like shredded, in 4 weeks, and people didn't really believe me that I did that. So when I went to the mainland to compete, they saw my condition, and they would ask me, oh wow, where you from, blah blah blah. And they said, oh wow, your diet, what'd you eat? I said, oh, fried chicken. They kind of laughed and they thought I was joking, but I was serious. And so I ate fried chicken, and I don't. At that time, I didn't like vegetables. But as time went by, I started liking vegetables a lot. I developed a taste for it. But just ate fried chicken, a lot, like 5 meals a day. So we go to Kentucky Fried Chicken, we buy the bucket, I bring it home, and I eat like 4 or 5 pieces. And I go, oh, this is good diet. It's so easy, bodybuilding diet. But that's, I not knowing that I was actually doing it the wrong way. But for me, it was good because I learned that my body really works well with a high protein, high fat diet, but very low carbohydrate diet. So at that time, it was called keto, you know, the keto diet. So I did that, and up to this day, bodybuilders nowadays, did that. They do carb cycling. So they do 3 days low carbohydrates, and the fourth day they carb up. But I did it for 4 weeks, but I was just shredded. But anyway, when I was at the contest, I noticed that I was very new to this. I didn't know like there was prejudging. So, but I went to the first meeting, so I got all the information, and I was very focused on making sure I did the right things and did it at my best. But I went to the meeting and I really pay attention to what needs to be done. That the prejudging, you have to be prejudging at this time. And so I would ask, what is prejudging? And they kind of laugh at me, but they said that's the main. In the morning, you go there, you get judged, and then you have the night show. And actually, the night show was a day after. But anyway, at the prejudging, I seen all these seasoned teenage bodybuilders, very good. I mean, they look like men actually. But so I watched them pump up. So I pump up. I watched them put oil. I told one guy to put oil in my back because I couldn't reach. I seen one guy just drinking wine. So a lot of stuff I watched and observed because I did not know. But I asked questions at that time, and I observed what they did. Even when, and for some reason I was first call outs. I think there was like 40 something, almost 50 people in my division, and it was the lightweights. It was very competitive, but for some reason I didn't know that I was first call outs, and I didn't know all the compulsory poses. So as they lined us, the top 5 people being judged, I had to when they say like double bicep, I kind of knew what double bicep was, but not sure. But as they posed, I kind of looked down my right side, and I looked out at the athlete on my left side, and I go, oh, okay. So I copied them. Then they said, lat spread. And again, I kind of knew what lat spread was, but not sure, not 100% sure. So again, I looked down, I made sure that, I watched how they did the pose, and I did it. So it was, again, that's how new it was to me. I was very raw at this. So so that's some of the things that I remembered at that time that I wish I had better guidance. But coming from Hawaii, we had no trainers, and nobody that I really had to, like, no mentors. There's some good guys, but where the gym I lived was far away from the people. So that's how I learned. And I guess maybe I got excited because as I'm posing in the prejudging, I noticed some of the judges I seen in the magazine, like I seen, like, for example, Lee Haney, just smiling and just like shaking his head like, wow. So it gave me I was self-fulfilled and happy knowing that I guess my physique, looked pretty good. Even though I felt confident it did look good, but just having that, validation from other people made me feel more confident. But everything I took, ultimately I took third, and which, to me it was a very big accomplishment for me. So from that time on, I knew I had the potential to do very well in bodybuilding, and I like to train. I love the sport, and I did almost every sport during my lifetime. And so I guess, and what kept me going and what made my career come out of this is because I got into the gym business. Yeah, so from doing well and competing led to other opportunities. So I mean, that's the positive things that I got from this. And again, I was very fortunate, And I think in life it's all about timing. And yeah, I went through a lot of ups and downs, but this timing for me was a big plus in my life that made me go on to further my career in competing and in my career in the gym business. In the teenage, so when I first started, I try to make sure that I did it on the healthy way. Oh, well, not healthy way, but how is it the right way? But I had no clue about chemicals, about steroids. And but even though if you kept on asking, people will eventually tell you. But at that time, we just trained. Me and my brother, we just trained and we ate. Um, and I was satisfied with the gains I made. So no sense try to ask for more. When you're satisfied, you can just pursue what you have. But because I'm entering this contest and I was hearing that this is a big contest, that I asked this one guy, and he was a national level competitor, very good. He said, "Did I ever?" I said, "What else can I do to improve my physique? Because I'm not, this is my first contest, blah blah blah." He says, "Oh, this is your first contest. You ever try thinking about taking chemicals?" And I says, "What chemicals? No." He goes, "What? You never?" Actually, everybody thought I was, but I wasn't. But he introduced me to this one drug called Dynabol, and I just took one pill a day, which is only 10 milligrams, and my body just absorbed it. I could feel it just absorbing me. I got stronger as the days went by. I got stronger, 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 and by the time a week went by, I felt different, more aggressive, more. I could see my body change every day. So was it a miracle pill? It was not really a miracle pill, but it just gave me when you see changes on your physique every day, it's like it's just incredible to see it on yourself versus other people. But when it's on yourself, it's a different type of feeling that I felt that I liked, so I pursued that. So so after this contest, it made a lot of difference. Yeah, it did make a lot of difference. I took a break from taking chemicals, but as the contest went along, I took the same thing. But as time goes by, you get introduced to other types because there's so many different types. There's like bulking drugs, there's like cutting drugs, there's power drugs. So as time goes by, you start experimenting and you're learning from when you take this, I can feel my body react this way. If I take this type of drug, my body react that way. So again, you learn from doing it on yourself. You're like your own teacher. You're like your own doctor. So we had no guidance. Not like now you have a lot of guidance. Yeah, everybody has trainers. Everybody has coaches. But I didn't have that knowledge yet. But I had to go through trial and error and build the experience. And I became my own, you know, trainer slash coach slash doctor, I guess. So, but I think you learn much more when you can decide on your own, and especially a lot of people nowadays they need that third eye. So people, even though they may think they look good, they need that somebody telling them that they look good or not. So, but at that time we had no. Maybe I asked my training partners, but really, do they know? The only thing they say is, "Oh yeah, you look good," but do I really look good? Do I really look ready? So as time goes by, you develop your own perception of having an eye for yourself. Nowadays, I don't see as much. So that's where maybe later on I'll talk about the mental part of bodybuilding, which plays a really big part, yo. If you have a strong mind, a mind of a champion, you can go much further into the sport. So it's not just like genetics, that you're naturally strong, you naturally have fast metabolism, your body changes, but you also need the mental part of a champion. Again, from competing, being a competitor to getting to the business side of it. Yeah, and if nobody really knew, I am a promoter, and I'm just happy to announce that my next Ikaika class will be next year, July 5th on Saturday at the Neil Blaisdell Pikaki room. So it's a new venue that I had this year, but I usually, I would know the dates maybe like 4 or 5 months before, but now I have it early. So I'm so anticipating and very happy to announce that, the date is set at July 5th, next year. Yeah. Um, Also, what I wanted to talk about is the I'm trying to get more athletes. I need to think more about the athletes. So I want to set up more maybe like potential seminars like I had this year, so that people can look at the Ikai class as more, not just a contest, but there's more to it. Yeah, there's more add-ons that you can benefit from it, more information. So again, it's gonna be an exciting event. I'm trying to get a stronger team, adding more people that will help me or help the contest benefit, so that the athletes can get a better view, better feeling. The journey will be worth it, because at this contest they'll feel really good about competing. So yeah, I do train people at the gym, but I notice that there's a lot of people, they wanna they want me to train them, but it's just that this is my gym, and I cannot go to like Japan or go to California or Texas to go and train them. So I am bringing back. I did have my online training before, but I had to stop for a little while. But I'm bringing it back, and it's gonna be new and improved. I'm making sure that I'm gonna be focused on giving my clients, my online clients, 100% attention. Um, and it's going to be very quick to response. Um, Most of the time you benefit from it, so you should try it. Give me a DM message, and I'll set everything up for you. So if you have any questions, just DM me, and then I'll set everything up. Thank you.